Let me clarify what I mean by is it worth playing solo in the case of New World Aeternum. Even if Amazon Games is marketing this as an open world action RPG, it is still very much an MMORPG at its core. So yes, you will see other players in the world, but my goal with this video is to tell you just how much you can do in this game without having to join companies, which are New World's version of guilds, and without having to talk with other players. Firstly, Aeternum is not a new game. It's a major update and rebranding of the existing MMO, New World. That includes console versions, a revamped story and better starting experience, more solo-friendly content and various gameplay improvements. Existing New World owners on PC that also own the DLC, Rise of the Angry Earth, get all of this update's content completely free. If you only own New World, but not the DLC, you will have to buy the DLC to access some content of Aeternum, if you don't own anything yet. This game is not free to play, so you have to buy it. With that out of the way, the first thing they made more solo-friendly is actually the leveling experience. The main story quests no longer force you into group content like expeditions. Instead, they have introduced soul trials, which are basically solo boss fights. They are pretty engaging, and you can replay them daily at max level for some nice rewards. It is worth mentioning that in this game you don't have to flag up, which means you mark yourself as someone who can kill and get killed by other players. So you don't have to worry that when you, let's say, gather some materials for decorating a house, that someone all of a sudden one-shots your character and gets all your stuff. This is thankfully not the case. This game is actually pretty good for crafting, gathering and decorating. You can totally do that in peace. Now the grind to max level has been cut down too. They made the content denser, so you're not just running around doing boring fetch quests forever. But that's not to say that they don't exist, of course. The game still has all the MMO elements like the player-driven economy and guilds aka companies, but now you choose to engage with those or just focus on the solo content if that's more your style. But what about Endgame? There are the previously mentioned soul trials. These solo boss fights rotate daily and offer endgame rewards like weapons and armor. Don't underestimate just how much time you can spend just exploring, crafting, decorating your house, cooking, dyeing your armor sets, collecting trophies that give passive boosts to your character, and more. If you want, you can only do that stuff at endgame, and it's likely gonna be enough for a casual solo player. When it comes to dungeons, the good news is that there is now a group finder, which is great if you don't want to manually assemble a team. Even for mutated expeditions, which are the more challenging dungeons, you can matchmake for lower difficulties through the group finder, but the higher end difficulty requires a more coordinated group, so you cannot use the group finder for that. If that's not quite enough for you, there is a new free-for-all PvP area called Cursed Mists. Since it is free-for-all, it should be doable as a solo player. This is an area where you will encounter other players constantly, and it offers high risk, high reward gameplay for gathering valuable endgame resources. Now you can also do the new 10-player raid to get similar high quality items, but that raid is very challenging and likely requires voice communication for some of its mechanics. So if you're not into free-for-all PvP and the 10-player raid, then you will likely have trouble getting the top gear in this game. But then again, if you are a casual or semi-casual player, then this top tier equipment is not required at all to enjoy most of the endgame content. So with the new update on October 15, the game will be more solo-friendly than ever before. Chances are that if you are a more casual player, then you will get a lot of enjoyment out of this game, even without having to interact with other players. That is, if you are into crafting, housing and decorating, collecting and exploration, and match-made dungeons, etc. And that sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.